All right, this video is for people who are actually interested in doing genealogy, actually interested in connecting themselves to their roots, actually interested in their ancestors, stuff like that, and trying to figure out where they come from, just trying to reconnect with yourself. But that's basically what doing genealogy is, because your ancestors are just you. So if you're having trouble, you know what I'm saying, your grandparents passed away early, you don't have a close relationship with your family, here is another way that can help you trace your so-called ancient ancestry, or your so-called what like 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, where you might have been. It's basically just taking advantage of the memory in your DNA, you know what I'm saying? And most companies, places, people, things kind of do that to us already. So we need to start using this science in our own favor. A lot of the reasons why we buy certain clothes, why we like certain styles, certain music, certain foods, whatever, is because of that same memory in our DNA. So they put stuff out there, market it to us, and pretend like it's something new and flashy. And our memory in our DNA wants to just go run and go get it because it's something that's familiar to us. And that goes from everything from those sling bags that you see us wearing. That goes back to some Indian shit. So everything from that to even this hat right here. Wearing this hat of this material, that goes back to them colonial times, and having those so-called patriots and them colonial men having them little hats on their head. That's where this shit comes from. And there's a reason why we still do this stuff. And hopefully, if I have pictures, I'll put them up so you can see what I'm talking about. The way you can take advantage of this is if you've seen a lot of movies or played a lot of video games in your time, read comics, or just things that you're naturally attracted to, you want to pay more attention because there's a reason why you like it. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why you like playing that game. You like seeing the images. It reminds you of you. It reminds you of a past life. It reminds you of what you was here doing the last time you was here. You know what I'm saying? So your favorite video games. So if you're attracted to a certain character, not in a you want to sleep with them kind of way, that's strange. Please don't be attracted to them in that type of way. But unless it's a movie or something, I hope you ain't trying to sleep with no video game. But anyway, if you're attracted to a certain type of character, it's I just love Carlos or something. I don't know what it is about his character design or whatever. For some reason, he's a pirate in this game that takes place in 1999, but I just love Carlos, you know what I'm saying? Or even your favorite sports logo. I forgot to add that on my list. Your favorite sports logo, you know what I'm saying? The characters in your favorite movie or game, the scenery, because you'll know the games will take place in a certain place. The level, especially if it's an older 90s, 2000s game, it's more 2D. Especially if it's a fighting game or an RPG or something. So the level or the background, I should say, the scenery might take place in Mexico. It might take place in Egypt. It might take place in Greece or something. And that might be a familiar place to you. So that's why you like playing the game. Like Assassin's Creed, for example. Assassin's Creed is a great example. Assassin's Creed is based on going back to some past lives, you know what I'm saying? And it does its best to replicate what life was like during those times. Like Assassin's Creed, let's say you're Jamaican like me or Caribbean, you might love playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag because that game has a lot to do with Caribbean history. Whether the images of the people look the same or not, it just has a lot to do with it. So you might love playing that game and you think it's because of Assassin's Creed, but you're only playing it because it's reminding you of what your life was like during those times. You might have been on some pirate shit, or you might have been one of the people who was roaming the islands during them pirate times. You know what I'm saying? So you might love that game. And many other, or you might have become a Raiders fan, even though your whole house is a Steelers fans. You might become a Raiders fan or a Buccaneers fan off the logo, and that helps connect you to your past self because you might have been a past life. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why you love this type of icon. That's the reason why you love that symbol. You're just naturally attracted to it. That's what I'm talking about. That's the reason why you might love a certain character. So may not be melanated. They may not. Sometimes they'll have locks and stuff. So Pirates of the Caribbean, which is on my list, they all, Johnny Depp, have locks, but he's obviously a so-called white man. So he he is playing a character that should look like me, but he is playing a character, you know what I'm saying? And the character may look like him, but he might still be cosplaying as another race or another cultural identity or whatever you want to, you know what I'm saying? And from my historical standpoint, the person that he's playing should look a lot more like me than a lot more like him, which is why his character has locks, like a lot of pirates did. And they wore a lot of like scarves and bandanas and stuff like you see the so-called hood dudes do today. You know, even the way the do-rag looks is kind of like how pirates used to walk around, or the people that they call pirates, which even goes back to some deeper stuff. But if you can figure out that, let's say for example, right, this is what you got to do. If you can figure out that, ooh, I like this pirate stuff, I'm just gonna stay on that because this is what I've been on. I noticed I always like the pirate video game character. I like the Pirates of the Caribbean. I like those little colonial outfits for some reason. You know what I'm saying? I like the pirate. So let's say you figure out that that's you, then you could go deeper with that. Well, who were the pirates? You know, what's their origin story? And that's what's going to help you connect to your story. And that's how you're going to use that genetic memory of DNA, that natural attraction. And I just use pirates as an example, but there's many examples. And like I said, us people of the Americas, especially Caribbean people, we are super duper mixed. So you might look like me, but have East Indian ancestry. You know what I'm saying? You might look like me, but your ancestry goes back to Spain. You might look like me, but you know what I'm saying, your ancestry goes back to being Mayan or something. French. You know what I'm saying? You might look like me and be something like our ancestry just goes as far back. So and it's so mixed up and bundled in together. So these characters, these movies, these scenes that you just naturally like. If you really liked watching The Mummy for some reason, oh, that's just one of my favorite movies. You know, you might have that Egyptian connection or something. You know what I'm saying? So you just want to take advantage of what you already know about yourself to help you learn more about yourself. So that's basically just the science of this. You know, so for me, for example, just to kind of wrap it up there, I remembered as a kid, like, one of the first games I had for the PlayStation 1, you know, which is kind of where, like, I got my first system, Nintendo 64, PS1, was Tekken 3. It was Tekken 2, but the one I played more was Tekken 3. And I was just so in love with that game. And I never realized until recently that game takes place with, like, them going to the Mayan temples in South America. You know what I'm saying? I used to love playing this Crash Bandicoot game because there's many of them. But the couple ones that I used to love playing, a lot of the levels took place in South America. You know what I'm saying? The Pirates of the Caribbean, that used to be one of my favorite movies growing up. I used that example earlier. That has real Caribbean history sprinkled in with all those special effects and mythology, and sprinkled in with all those special effects and like metaphysical metaphors and stuff like that. But deep, like, the heart of the movie is giving you real historical events that really happened. You know what I'm saying? So I always loved that movie. And those three things can help me connect to a past self. Because if I was lining it up with my ancestry, which is like partial on my dad's side, which is like maroon, and which is really like Moors and Taino and Arawak, which is kind of all like the same thing coming together. And those people go back to like the Olmecs, who were like the original people of South America. So that you could see how the characters I liked lines up with my ancestry. And that's just one part of it. I could do the same thing with my mom's side. You know what I'm saying? And without me knowing the Maroon or Taino or Arawak thing, I still have a great idea. Because if I didn't know that, I could say, okay, I know I have an affinity to the Caribbean with this movie, and I'm from the Caribbean, so I must have a connection with it. These games and the Mayan temples and the ruins and the mythology of South America, I have an affinity to that. So maybe, and then, okay, so I would keep putting it together. The indigenous people of Jamaica traveled from South America. So the story goes. So maybe I have something to do with the indigenous people of Jamaica, seeing that I have how those things kind of connect. That's kind of how I would piece it together if I didn't have any type of information, or how I would try to gain an idea. That's just give you a little sample right there. But you might like watching them old movies where it's like king and queens and stuff, and it takes place in Europe, and it's all white people. You know what I'm saying? There's no people who look like us. And that still might help you connect to your ancestry. Don't let the color of the people discourage you, because you got to remember, Tom Cruise was the last samurai. All them Asian people in Asia, all the samurais that existed in Japan, and that nigga was somehow the last samurai. So you have to apply that logic to the rest of the movies. So don't let it discourage you. You might like movies that take place in Ireland and have Irish history or something. That helps you connect with who you really are. But all the people in the movie is white. All the people that you look up may look white. But that doesn't mean that that's still not a part of your history, because things have been whitewashed. Images have been changes, and so on and so forth. I'd have to make a whole other video for that topic, but I'm just trying to help you get started so you can start connecting your present self with your old self, and just use this information to empower you. Because what it did for me, just to wrap up, I know I said that already, but just to really wrap up, is that now I'll be watching movies or playing a game or something, and because I know, like, okay, that character is based on like me and my ancestors, I'm like, oh, look at me right there. Oh, it's me again. And not even like in an ego type of way, but we so used to identifying with the slave. It's like now I could be looking at TV and identifying with something that actually empowers me. It's like, oh, look at that genius. It's like, oh yeah, they are going to the such and such temple to go visit the Khan high priest. Yeah, they are doing that. And it's like, look at my grandfather. That's how I kind of start looking at it, because that's kind of really what it is, all jokes aside. So that's kind of what it started. That's what it started doing for me too, aside from just also helping me connect with myself. So I hope that this helps. I hope I'm not just rambling. You know what I'm saying? I hope that somebody's watching this and being like, oh shit, well, I did like that one. I did always like looking at that one level in that one game for some reason. Or, oh shit, it's like, is that why I like watching such and such type of movies? Like, if Aladdin is one of your favorite movies, I'm going to tell you right now, even if you don't know what these type of people are, you definitely have some sort of Moorish ancestry. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you kind of want to start breaking it down, making it that simple. Like, oh, I have an Arabic name. I like the movie Aladdin a lot. That was like my favorite movie growing up. I probably have Moorish ancestry. And then you want to start getting into who those people are, and then you want to use that to empower yourself. So then you start looking at yourself in that type of manner, and then your life starts becoming a reflection of that. And that's basically the science of it right there. So just gonna finish off right here. Probably make a part 2 to this, like all the rest of my videos. But hope this helps. Hope you enjoy it.